There was once a time when Jax could dive you in the Nexus and beat you, a Poppy who was literally unkillable, and Fiora was a Master Yi on steroids. All of these abilities and passives have now been changed. I will go through the most interesting ones. As a Warwick one-trick in the league, let's talk about how his ultimate wasn't always the super hard skill shot that is completely understandable if you miss it. It actually had a different mechanic. Instead of landing the ability, it was a point and click teleportation suppress. It was very annoying too, as it would suppress the target for 1.8 seconds, whereas the ultimate right now is only 1.5 seconds. The lifesteal was a lot less in the old ultimate at 30% in comparison to the 100% he heals now. But what made it very strong is that it would apply 5 on hit stacks. So if you paired this with specific items such as Blade of the Ruin King, which have abilities that work with stacks, then it becomes very strong. And honestly, imagine you're in a team fight as the ADC or someone squishy. You genuinely have zero chance to react or escape his ultimate, as dude would Goku instant transmission on you and you would just have to accept this is it. It isn't even about Warwick killing the ADC or squishy target, since he is not that useful in team fights, but holding the champion back is him doing more than enough. If you ever played Fiora, you know she is a queen at 1v1s or even 2v1s, but in a team fight, aside from her healing mat, she is useless as she has no ability to hit everyone at once. However, old Fiora was a Master Yi on steroids and 1v5 queen. Her old ultimate was called Blade Waltz, and she would basically dash around the battlefield, becoming untargetable in the process, and would deal physical damage to enemies up to 5 times, and each hit counts as a stack. So just like Warwick, if she itemized with Witsend, Bulk, etc., where they do bonus damage with certain stacks, she could genuinely delete a whole team with this ultimate, and to make it worse, it's point and click. This kind of ability is a team fight heaven, but I can't lie, Fiora was not really a popular champion. So to say this was abused is a lie. Which ultimate do you prefer, her old one or new one? And I don't know about you, but you know when you're slapping someone in a 1v1, then out of nowhere Twisted Fate appears and saves the day, kind of like Shen players? Well, we know this ability is his ultimate, but in the past it used to be his E ability. Genuinely, he was able to teleport wherever he wanted with his regular ability, and what makes it worse is right now he is restricted with where he can teleport, as he needs to have vision. In the past, he was allowed to teleport anywhere on the map. What's annoying is though, I can't find the cooldown on this ability. Honestly, whoever thought this was okay is wild to me. Ashe is a bit different. It's not her ultimate, but it's actually to do with her passive. Her current passive in game is called Frost Shot, where her attacks slow targets and increase her damage to those targets more or less. In the past, she had a second passive known as Plentiful Bounty, where she would gain bonus gold if she gained a kill. This was a long ass time ago and got changed in the update 1.94, and even the video I'm showing you in the screen is almost 13 years ago. I'm not entirely sure if this passive was broken or not, and I can't find any notes on it. My hunch says that Frost Shot and Plentiful Bounty together as passives must have been really broken, and the reason I believe the passives were done together is from this video. This was the original symbol for Frost Shot, and the Plentiful Bounty symbols also there at the same time. Hence, they are double passives. And I am not joking when I say this, but our boy Mordekaiser was genuinely controlling dragons with his old abilities. I am sure when you think of Mordekaiser's ultimate, you think of his death realm, where he makes it a pure 1v1 fight with someone and steals some of their stats. Well, you see, his old ultimate was kind of different. It was called Children of the Grave, where he can use it on a champion and is kind of like a powerful ignite, but at the same time he heals himself with some of the damage the enemy takes. But that isn't what makes it interesting. If he or anyone kills the champion who he used his ultimate on, they then become a soul that he is able to control as a ghost and fight with him. The ghost lasts between 45 to 75 seconds. A few issues though, the ghost can only auto attack and doesn't have the abilities of that champion, but it does have the items. He can also control drakes. No joke. Watch this video and you will see what I mean. The drakes literally fight for your team, and the reason they changed this ultimate is probably because there are genuinely 100 notes plus on Riot trying to fix it. For example, there was a bug that if Jin died on his 4th shot and came back as a ghost, all his autos would be the 4th shot, and I'm sure you understand why that was broken. So I guess it's easier to redo the whole thing over trying to fix it all the time. You know, in League of Legends there's mechanics like lethality, omnivamp, etc. Long ago there was something known as dodging, where every champion could dodge an attack without an ability being used. It doesn't exist anymore, but it was being able to dodge a whole ass ability through chance. Meaning, if you're technically lucky enough against a mage like Veigar, you could dodge his whole skill set, and then for 10 seconds, Veigar is basically a walking minion. And yes, you can say champions like Neela and Jax can dodge now, but they do it with an ability. Jax's E ability was different in the past. Today, his Counter-Strike ability allows him to dodge all incoming attacks for a short duration. However, in the past, Jax could use his E to increase his chance of dodging by 10 up to 18%. These are very high percentages, as Jax would be able to quite confidently dodge big abilities. I gave the example of Veigar. Imagine you are a 4-item champion against a 2-item Jax. You should win quite easily, but since his E allows him to easily dodge your whole kit, your abilities are now on cooldown. The enemy Jax can just eventually kill you, even with less items. It's ridiculous, and that is why Riot got rid of it as soon as possible. And speaking of Veigar, he also had a really strong passive. So his current passive is called Phenomenal Evil Power. And a little random lore fact, Veigar used to get tortured by Mordekaiser in his lore and now hates Mordekaiser's guts more than anything. Okay, so his new passive gives him permanently increased AP if he lands a takedown or a spell on someone. So late game Veigar is a menace. However, his old passive was called Entropy. He would basically steal 20% of nearby enemy champions' AP stats. The amount he steals cannot be more than 5 times Veigar's level. So you can imagine, in a game where he is against 2 or 3 mages, Veigar would be thriving due to the amount of AP he is stealing. So I ask again, which passive do you think is more broken? I'm gonna say his new one is still stronger because early late game Veigar does more damage than anyone, and honestly, his ultimate outdoes the 1200 damage from a jungler smite, and as a Warwick one trick, it's annoying is all I'm saying. There is another passive that was given to Poppy, and genuinely I would argue one of the strongest passives in all of League of Legends. Poppy's current passive is called Iron Ambassador, where she throws her weird yellow frisbee and it bounces off that target, and if she picks it up, she gets a shield. Pretty easy and not broken. Her old passive was called Valiant Fighter, and it states that when Poppy takes non-turret damage higher than 10% current health, she reduces that excess amount by 50%. Now, for my non-maths people who are mentally slow just like me and need a better explanation, imagine a Poppy had 1000 health, and when she takes 500 damage, according to her passive, 10% of that damage she would take at full value, so 100 out of 500 damage she would take. Then the remaining 400 of that damage would be cut in half. So in total, a Poppy taking 500 damage would actually end up becoming 300 damage. In this scenario, I haven't even factored in damage reduction from armor and magic resist, as most Poppies go for the tank or bruiser build. She literally could not die. Now, I did not play the game when Poppy had this, but I can just imagine the effort required to kill this Cassante on steroids. These were my favorite champions who have had their abilities and passives changed. I want to make a part 2, and if there is a specific champion you want me to include, let me know in the comments. Please do like and subscribe so I can become a billionaire. Thank you, love you, bye.